Welcome to our Calling of a Priestess Masterclass. I'm Alice Hadi, your starseed guide, light language activator, and a Lemurian priestess. I'm so honored to be here with you on this journey today. Whether you are joining live or replay, know that the potential for activation, breakthrough, and healing is available for you. That every single moment can be a doorway for you to create a new reality, jump into your highest timeline, and have your immediate shift. That every single word being shared here carries a frequency that I'm not just saying words, I am channeling energy, frequency of healing, of activation that is here to open you up and activate your calling of a priestess. So be open, stay present in the here and now. And we'll do exactly that now. So I invite you to listen to this as you would a meditation, give yourself the self-love, the priority, the magic of the 1 hour or so to receive. And we do this simply by dropping into the present moment. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, unless you're driving, I invite you to close your eyes now and just be present in the here and now by taking 3 deep grounding breaths. Breathing in, letting go. Breathing in, letting go. Breathing in, letting go. With your eyes closed, just take a moment to feel your heartbeat by placing one hand on your heart, another on your belly. Thanking yourself for showing up, for being here, and allow your heart to open like a rose, opening up its petal as you be open to receive what is available to you today and release the rest. And taking the next moment of silence to do your silent prayer of intention for yourself. And for me, my intention for everyone here is that they will receive what they need and that they will be activated into their highest priestess calling in whatever way, shape, and form with ease, clarity, and joy. And breathing that in, let it all out. Slowly open your eyes and welcome back. Let's begin by what is a priestess? The way I define it is priestess is someone who has one foot on the ground and another one on the ether. She is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. She is the mother, the gatekeeper, the wisdom keeper, the light worker, the way shower, the starseed, the visionary, the leader, the healer. She's all that is, and all that is she. And she knows that she knows that she knows right down into her bone and her soul that she's here to be of service to the divine. That by being of service to the divine, she is being of service to herself too. For she is the divine and the divine is her. That we are freeing ourselves from the ego and coming into spirit. We are freeing ourselves from the limiting patriarchy society and leaning into the power of divine union. And that she knows that to be of service to the divine, that's her role, that's her calling, and that's her mission. Is that you, my love? Just feel into that. There is no right or wrong way to define a priestess. That's just the way I see it. Your intuition is the greatest teacher. Let your intuition be your feedback loop. You will feel it in your heart when something resonates. Even if it's just a word that just clicks and shifts everything. Now, what is a priestess in the modern world then? Some of you, when I remember when I first started the journey, when I think about the priestess, I will be like seeing all of these images in social media, right? Like they are all in like this red, long robe, very flowy, and they have a veil on their head and maybe flower and doing all the posture and so on. And it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that there might be a very stereotypical image of a priestess that you have in your mind because that's what the mind does. The mind likes to label things, to put things into boxes, and to categorize things. So the mind might have like this preconceived idea of a priestess, and it can be one that is supportive or not so much. So letting go and releasing what you think you know and what the mind thinks she knows, coming into your heart and soul, understanding that priestess is not one way. There are so many different ways to be a priestess. There are so many paths, and your path is uniquely yours. And that the priestess can be of service to the divine in public or in private, so to speak. A good example of being in private, meaning to say that you don't necessarily have to be out there, being on camera, being on social media, being on stage. In that sense, you can be simply a stay-at-home mom, baking cookies, sharing it with a neighbor, taking care of your rose garden so that everyone who walks past your house can smell and enjoy the fragrance of the rose and enjoy the sight of the beauty of that beautiful bloom right in your front yard. And that you give a smile to people who walk past because you want to radiate love and share your joy with the world. Can be as simple as that, my love. Being of service to the divine simply means to share your love and to shine your light in your own way. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, you get to do it in your stay-at-home mom way. If you are a yoga teacher, you do it yoga teacher way, and so on, right? So don't confine yourself to one way. Find one that is yours rather than finding a better word will be to create your own path. Not everyone needs to be a healer, a teacher, a coach, a leader, a visionary, or whatever you call it. However, a lot of the priestesses feel called towards that path. because their calling of a priestess is to be a service to the divine, and part of being a service to the divine is to share their gifts to the world. So if you have a gift, you are being called to activate that gift and to share it with the world. Again, it's not the only way. You don't have to if you don't want to. However, you are watching this up till now, something might have resonated with you and being activated in you. So entertain that angel messages and signs and synchronicity that is being presented to you. And there are so many ways that you can be of service to the divine. And again, like I know I say this so many times, but it's so important to emphasize this because we are so conditioned to find the right way of doing things by watching people doing what they are doing online, or even taking up courses and following step 1, step 2, step 3, and just constantly finding the right things when there is no right things. The right thing is what is true for you, and your truth and mine is the same. This is so important that it is so crucial for me to emphasize it again. For me, the Priestess Path involves not just in my personal life in this way that, as I was sharing, is the way I show up every day, is the way I walk out of the house and greeting the neighbor and treating people with love and kindness and compassion. It is also the way I show up, not just in private, but in public. Like right now, showing up as the healer, as the activator, as the mentor who is here to support you in your priestess path. And I've been doing this since 2016, supporting starseed, visionary, light workers, and sacred feminine leader like you in your priestess path, helping you to remember your calling, activating your gifts, and bringing your vision into life and sharing it with the world. Right. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing this through helping people to speak their light language, guiding them through their Akashic journey so that they awaken to their gift, remember their calling, their vision, and supporting them even in their business so that they get to bring the vision into life, share your offerings with the world, and actually serving people, right? Like, you can't be hiding and serving people. If you want to serve people, you have to have people in your life. And in order for that to happen, you got to show up so that people can find you, they can see you, they can hear you, and you get to be visible. And that's how you serve. That if you guys are not here, I'm serving nobody. Make sense? So for you guys to be here, I show up, and then you guys show up, and that's how it happened. So take the first step and the rest will open up. I see my business as a temple. So I imagine my business as a temple, and I am that priestess, right? So I'm the priestess of my temple, of my business. And my job every day is to open the door of the temple and to allow whoever that is meant to come in to come in. Some people may walk past and not even see the temple. Some people might take a peek and go like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I will look at it next time. Some people will walk straight right in and go like, oh my God, this is the temple that I've been looking for. Everything I want is here. Like, oh my God, like I can't believe I found the temple. And some people were just like, oh, I really, really want this ceremony. I want this journey. I want this. Sign me up for everything, right? So it doesn't matter who, what, when, where, and how. My role as a priestess, as a temple keeper, is to literally do that. I'm simply here to be the guardian of the temple and to be of service to everyone who walks into the temple. And I do it with love, with compassion, and with joy, regardless of the outcome. And it is not for me to decide for other people what they want to do. That is their free will, that is their choice, that's their decision. But it's for me to decide how I want to show up every single day. That I choose to fully show up in full trust and surrender, so I can be of the service to the divine through my business, through my temple. And I open the temple door every morning and close the temple door every night, thanking everyone who walk in, thanking for the opportunity to serve you, the opportunity to co-create with you, and the opportunity for me to actually fulfill my mission and my vision. So that's how I see my business. I see it as a temple, and that's how I've been walking my priestess path and being of service of the divine through my business in that way, knowing that my business is a vehicle for ascension, for growth, for transformation, for magic, for shift, for everyone who is here, including me. So what will your priestess path look like? Do you want to walk the priestess path in private, in public, or maybe like semi-private, semi-public, you know? And what does being a service mean to you even, right? It might mean something totally different for you. And we'll get to explore that a little bit deeper towards the end. So I will circle right back into that so you have the clarity by the time we end the masterclass. So for now, we have covered what is a priestess, what it means to be one in the modern world, and what are the different ways that priestess path may look like using my personal example earlier. And now we come into knowing that the calling of the priestess is to be of service to the divine, which is essentially to be of service to yourself as well. Since you are the divine and the divine is you, then the magic question of how, something that our mind is always dying to know, like how do I do that? So how can you activate your calling of a priestess? A big part of being a priestess involves you rising up and embodying your divine feminine, your Shakti energy. That's your primal force, your power, your magic, your gift to the world. Like awakening your divine feminine is like a huge part of the priestess journey, because we are freeing and liberating ourselves from the limited patriarchy society that is so linear, so logical, and honestly pretty boring in a way, and really coming into the divine feminine force of creation, of creativity, flow, magic, surrender, trust, wonder, and all that beautiful stuff. And of course, it is not about being only feminine and shunning away the masculine. No, no, no. It's about having the balance of the masculine and feminine as we come into divine union of both. Since we are so taught and so trained in the masculine, we are being called to remember and activate the divine feminine. And there are so many ways that you can activate your divine feminine so that you get to activate your calling of the priestess. The three ways to activate your calling of a priestess, which is what I personally use and what I share with my students or clients, and I've seen it work magic to so many people. That's why I'm sharing this with you. Take what resonates and leave out the rest. Okay. The first way is actually what I call rose alchemy. Mhm. Just take a moment to visualize a rose, whatever color, doesn't matter. And just notice, how does the rose makes you feel? For me, every time I think about the rose, I'm not even talking about actually seeing a physical rose, just thinking of the rose itself totally shifted me into the divine feminine. Rose is essentially a very like a very strong symbol of the divine feminine itself. Like she holds the frequency of divine feminine and divine goddess. That's what she is. That's who she is. And that's the frequency that the rose holds. So every time you tune into that frequency, whether physically by having a rose and smelling it and enjoying it, or working with essential oil of the rose, flower essence of the rose, or even having a rose tea or dipping yourself in a rose bathtub, bathtub filled with roses. Whatever way you work with roses physically, you are already working with it energetically. And when you tap into that frequency of the rose, for me at least, it immediately softened me into the divine feminine. It's almost like, like how over the years we get hurt and we get upset and we get disappointed, whether in life, in relationship, or in business. And we start building those blocks and walls and barriers. And there is like a distance, right? Like we are having this wall around us. Not that we want to, but kind of like we pick it up along the way. But by softening into the divine feminine almost instantly, when every time I work with the roses, I feel all those barriers just dissolve. Those barriers and blocks and walls that I have towards love, they just melt and dissolve. And I feel my heart literally on a physical level. My entire chest relaxes and opens, and just this entire whole body softening and melting like a marshmallow and dropping into the essence of who I am. That's my personal experience with the rose. And it goes even deeper and deeper and deeper when I actually work with the rose alchemy on a very deep, energetic, and spiritual level. Meaning to say that, yes, it's great to work with the rose on a physical level. And that is a great way to work with one. And that's how you can get started. At the same time, you can also bring it on a deeper level if you are ready. Because the rose has so much wisdom, medicine, and blessings for you. So each rose has different frequency, like different color roses has different frequency, and it carries different messages, different wisdom. It has different quality and traits. And again, there is no right way or wrong way to define one rose, because that is so limiting and so patriarchy. And the rose will speak to you uniquely to you according to your soul blueprint. You can invite the rose alchemy in as an ally, as a guardian, as part of your spirit team. When I first worked with the blue rose, that is the first rose that came in for me. Actually, when I start working with the rose alchemy, the first thing that came for me is the blue rose. That was like a few years ago, and I remember she bring me such a strong message around speaking my truth, which is exactly the message I needed back then, because I was in a phase where I was coming out of my spiritual closet, where it was very challenging for me at the time to tell the world I speak light language. I mean, if you haven't heard light language, right, you will know what I mean after you hear one, in the sense that you'll know why it was challenging for me to share it with the world, because it doesn't sound anything like English or any other human language. It's totally out of this world, in a good way, in a magical and powerful way. However, the human mind of mine, especially coming from corporate, cannot make logic out of it. Like, I cannot rationalize my way into sharing it with the world, because what if people judge me? What would people think about me? I would sound crazy, weird, and like just outright weird. Like, and I don't really want to be outcasted and things like that. So it was really a period of my life where I was actually not really fully speaking my truth. Like, I've been speaking light language since 2016, and I've been sharing it with clients since then, but not like publicly, like on YouTube. Like right now, you Google YouTube, you can see me, hear me speak light language, like in podcast interview, in YouTube channel, like everywhere you can find me, you probably will hear me speak one or two light language or not. But at that time, that wasn't where I was. And that's when the blue rose come to me. Specifically, it is a blue rose of Lemuria. And this blue rose of Lemuria carries such deep energy of frequency of water, of element of water, alongside with the energy of the blue rose. It totally activated my throat chakra to help me embody my truth of who I am, so that I can speak and share it with the world, which leads me to where I am. And the reason I'm sharing this story is because I'm sharing to you my personal journey of blue rose, and to know what is possible for you when you start journeying with the rose, whether it's blue rose or something else. So the blue rose at that time really supported me, just like a mother, a sister, a best friend will support you. The blue rose of Lemuria really gave me that push to like really go like, it is safe to speak your truth. It is safe to share it with the world. It is safe. It is safe. It is safe. And then soon enough, not only am I sharing light language with the world, I'm helping people to speak their light language. So you want to learn how to activate and speak your light language, I'm your girl. And that blue rose of Lemuria has been just such a important and profound journey. And it is no coincidence or accident either that, again, that blue crystal is an aquamarine crystal at the time. And it was, again, the energy of the water, which is linked to Lemuria and the blue rose. So that's how you can start to activate your priestess calling, because when you start working with the rose, it opens you up and melts you and drop all your barriers to love and all of your resistance. In that softening and surrendering, that's when clarity comes. A lot of time, actually, you already know your calling of a priestess. That's why you are here, actually. But there is a resistance in the mind, a barrier in the heart, or what people call energetic block because of traumas or wounds or whatever the mind make it up to be. And once you can dissolve that barrier and lower down that guard and resistance, everything becomes really, really clear. And that's really powerful. So rose alchemy is one way to activate your calling of a priestess as you embody your divine feminine. And the other way, the second way, which is pretty related to what I was sharing earlier, is actually the goddess journey. Because again, the goddess is the embodiment of the divine feminine. Originally, the goddess is not separated into different boxes like how our mind make it up to be. Like right now, when we think about goddesses, maybe we start thinking that this goddess is in charge of A and that goddess is in charge of B and so on. And it's kind of like yes and no, meaning to say like, it is helpful to actually work with one goddess that represents something, because that it helps you to embody that specific trait and frequency in its fullness before moving on to the next thing. Yes, that can be helpful. And that's how we journey with the goddess usually. That said, I just want to remind us that the goddess isn't one thing or the other. The goddess is everything. She's all that is she. So yes, she is abundance, she is compassion, she is love, she is clarity, she is the leader, she is everything. Traditionally, though, when we work with goddesses, we will be thinking like, okay, we work with Goddess Kuan Yin for love and compassion, and we work with Abundantia for abundance. But again, Abundantia also has abundance of love and compassion, and then Goddess Kuan Yin also has abundance of love and compassion. You get what I'm saying? That said, it can be really powerful when you work with a specific goddess for a specific frequency and embodiment, and helping you to actually deepen into that. You might have noticed that I use the word embodiment a lot, and because that is really what the priestess journey is about. It's one thing to know it in your head, it's another thing to embody the entire frequency and every cell of your beingness, because we are human being after all. So it's not about talking grace or speaking or sharing about grace. It's about being grace herself. And the goddess journey is a great way to do that. So when I was working with Goddess Isis, again, it's just one of the many goddesses that I work with. But when I work with Goddess Isis, I remember I was working with a lot of the energy of the Egypt and the pyramid and the Goddess Isis, as well as at the time I was working with the golden rose. So again, you see how the rose and the goddess journey can be coming hand in hand. So I was working with Goddess Isis and the golden rose. So basically a lot of golden ray energy that I've been working for a long time, which to me symbolizes abundance. But beyond abundance, the way we understand it, what it really teaches me is to embody the frequency of sovereignty. What Isis teach me is really how to step up into my sovereign power, into the leader that I am, into the queen and the priestess that I'm here to be leader, to be of service to the divine, and to be unapologetically me, and sharing my light in that way. So I work with the goddess Isis through different activation, guided journey, and just a really intimate personal connection until I learn how to embody what she has for me. And that is her medicine for me at the time. And then another medicine will come in through different goddesses. Like with Kuan Yin, she really teaches me what compassion and love and forgiveness and grace is actually. And when you work with me actually in my one-on-one rose alchemy, that's exactly what you can experience. You get to experience how it feels like to journey with a specific rose and goddesses. So we allow the divine to reveal to you which color of the rose and which goddess is meant to work with you in your priestess path now, so that you get to receive that ally and that support that, okay, at this point of my life, I'll be working with this goddess and this rose until I embody that frequency, and then maybe I can work with another goddess and another rose. You can work with multiple rose and multiple guides, that's great too. However, in that one-on-one rose alchemy, the magic is there because it reveals to you your soul blueprint, right? We are working with the rose according to your soul essence. You have a specific soul essence, and the specific rose and goddess that comes in is meant to help you bring out the fullness of your essence and bring out the fullness and richness of the gifts and the power and the truth of who you are at the moment. So if you want to journey with me on the rose alchemy, you will be able to find out more information on my website as well. I'll pop the link down below. And the other way to work with the divine feminine energy as part of your priestess calling is to work with the elemental. So we talk about rose alchemy, we talk about goddess journey, and the last one is elemental. A priestess is very, very, very connected with nature. She understands that she is not only part of nature, but she is basically nature as herself. She is one with nature. She honors the ebb and flow of life. She understands the importance of the changes in the season. She works with her moon cycle. She knows how all of this elemental work in terms of how we can support her in her journey. And when I talk about elemental, I'm talking about earth, air, fire, and water, as well as the spirit along the elementals that support it, meaning that you might be working with a water dragon or fire dragon, or working with a mermaid or fairies and the angels and so on. But primarily in a bigger scope, we are talking about earth, air, fire, and water. And when I first started working with the elemental again, it just like boom. Like every element teaches me different things at different times. And once again, as you might have guessed, the one that I've been most connected with is the water element. Literally the blue rose of Lemuria came in, and when I know with certainty I'm a Lemurian priestess, as well as other priestesses. I'm not just Lemurian, I'm also Palladian and Syrian and so on. But there is this Lemurian priestess in me that is really wanting to be shared with the world right now. And that is why a lot of the blue rose of Lemuria, the water element, the whales and the dolphin and the mermaid, and this energy come in for me. And when I work with water, it really teaches me the understanding of surrendering into the flow of the divine in radical trust. Trusting and surrendering and surrendering and trusting, which is a huge part of the priestess journey. Because nothing goes exactly the way you plan, sweetheart, as you might have known by this time of your life. And yet when we look back, we can connect the dots and like, oh, that's actually the best solution at the time. Because the divine knows better. The divine has the overview of a bigger plan that we couldn't see or understand with our limited human mind. So when we surrender to the divine, there is magic. So working with elementals is another way that you can activate your divine feminine and really help you activate your calling in that way. Now, I know I use the word activate your calling, but I really want you to understand that you already know your calling. That's why you are even watching this. It is like helping you to remember it, to reactivate it, to reawaken what's already inside of you. And as I said, all of those are just tools that can help you out. Permission slip that help you to deepen deeper into your feminine, to deepen into your priestess path, to help you walk your priestess path. Like, whether it is the rose alchemy, the goddess journey, or the elementals, they are like your best friend, your spirit guides, your ally, your guardian, whatever name you want to call it. They are part of the team that is here to support you. And it's up to you to choose which one to begin with, whether it's the rose, the elemental, or the goddess journey, or something totally different. I actually am so excited because I'm now in the process of giving birth into a Lemurian priestess journey. So that's part of me bringing that vision into life. So whether like you want to work with the rose goddess, the Lemurian, the priestess, whatever way, you can find out all those information in my website, alicehuddy.com. When you go to the front page, you're gonna see at the bottom, there is a starseed, light language, and priestess tab. When you tap on the priestess tab, you're going to find all of the priestess offering that's available. Depending on when you watch this, there will be different offerings at that time. So check it all out there. You'll also find more of that in the description down below. With that said, I just want us to wrap up this journey with a journaling session to help you just to integrate everything and to walk out with something tangible that you can work on, if any at all that you want to work on. So if you haven't already, click pause and grab a pen and paper and come back. Now that you are back with your pen and paper, I invite you to just close your eyes to ground yourself. Just taking one deep breath in and out. Letting whatever that is being shared earlier to sink in, receiving what you need and releasing the rest. Okay. Imagine a golden light coming down from the top of your head, clearing your mind, opening your heart, and dropping you into your body, into the present moment, into the here and now, allowing the divine to guide you through this journaling, letting the divine flow through the words, letting whatever words come out to come out without thinking or judgment, just let it flow. The first journal prompt is, so I'm going to give you about 1 to 2 minutes each. And then, of course, if you want to journal more, you can always click pause and write everything you want before you go to the next prompt or come back to it later. So the first prompt is, what does being of service to the divine look like for you? What does being of service to the divine looks like for you? Will it be something you'll be doing in private or in public? If it is in public, then in what way, shape, and form? And beginning to the next prompt. If you could take a guess, what is your calling as a priestess? If you could take a guess, what is your calling as a priestess? So for me, I know that my calling of a priestess is to share my work with the world using the analogy of my business as a temple, and what I'm doing right now with you. This is my calling of a priestess. What will that be for you? No right or wrong, just let it come. Maybe it's traveling around the world, hosting retreats, or maybe being involved in a charity work, whatever it is. You may begin to finish up. This is not meant to be a long journal because I want you to not overthink and just like write whatever that comes. And then you can always expand later. And the last journal prompt is, what will support you in your priestess path? What will support you in your priestess path? Perhaps in order to be of service of the divine, the first simple things you need to do is to simply make a decision that this is my decision today, that I am going to activate my calling of a priest, of a priestess, and then share my magic with a role or whatever that is. Or maybe the first step will be to get help around the house so you have more time for yourself, or maybe to deepen your priestess journey by working with whatever modality that comes in for you, whatever that comes in. Maybe it's journeying with the rose or the goddess or the elemental or something else. What will support you in your priestess path? Trust the answer that comes. Now, taking one deep breath in and out. And just put this in your journal. It's not something to be over analyzed or anything. The moment you have set your intention, the moment you have made the decision, the moment you put it down on paper, it is done. Now we let the universe fill in the details. Be open to messages, to signs, and the synchronicity that come in, and then take inspired action on it, whatever it is. So be open and curious to it. Remember that taking action is part of the divine feminine journey as well. Surrendering and trusting, right? So with this, we have come towards the end of today's journey. You have learned what is a priestess, what it means to be one in the modern world, and learning the 3 ways you can activate your priestess calling by embodying your divine feminine through the rose alchemy, the elementals, and the goddess journey. And you have also learned the different ways that a priestess path can look like, whether it is in public or it is in private. And through the journaling, you gain some clarity to what your priestess path may look like and what your calling of a priestess might be and how you can support yourself in this path. So allow yourself to be helped, to be loved and supported, and to receive the help and support you need, and to actually ask for it when you need. Learning to ask for help is part of the priestess path too. Making a decision is part of it. Taking action is another part of it. So allow everything that we have journeyed today to kind of unfold and weave in and blossom and flower for you in whatever way, shape, or form. If you have any question, as usual, you can just pop it down below in the comment, and then I will get back to it when I look at it. And with that, I would like to invite you once again to close your eyes, taking a moment of gratitude to thank all of our guides who are with us, all of us who are present here, all of the beautiful magic that is here. We receive, we receive, we receive, and we now release this circle, calling all parts of you back into the present moment, knowing you're whole, complete, and free. I'm Alice. It's been a pleasure to guide you in this today's journey. And if you want to find out more about how I can support you in your Priestess Path, you can simply send me a message in Instagram at Alice Hadi, or reply to any of my emails, or hop onto my website at All Things Starseed, Light Language, and Priestess for you. As shared earlier, there is a one-on-one rose alchemy for you as well. There is an upcoming Lemurian priestess. By the time you watch this, maybe it's already out. So who knows? Go and check it out. It will be in the description and the website as well. And see you, and sending you much love and light.